Hello everyone, it's Benny, and welcome back to the 3D Game Engine tutorial series. In this video, we're going to be altering our lighting structures a little bit, so that they're more generic. We can have a completely generic light, and this is all going to start with base light. So I'm going to move that under Components, and I'm going to change base light, wherever you are, it didn't open you, to a component. So extends game component. It's not going to do much, granted, but it's going to be a component so that we can, well, do stuff. And the biggest thing I'm going to change is I'm going to have a private shader. We're going to have some shader that we're going to use to actually draw the base light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say private void set shader takes in some shader, and this is going to say this dot shader becomes shader. There. Very simple, and don't know if we're going to need to get the shader, but we're definitely going to need to set it. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. And that's really how we're going to change this. So under directional light, it's not going to extend game component, it's going to extend base light. And yes, this is going to horrendously screw up everything, but that's okay. So I'm going to change it to just taking in a vector 3f and a float intensity. And I'm going to say, really, super with color and intensity. There. And now I can get rid of the get and set base, because we don't need that, and just have get and set direction. There. And here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say set shader to forward, to forward directional dot get instance. And this is how we're going to manage shaders now. Oh, why did I make it private? Public void set shader, excuse me. There. So with that, really, we can add directional lights like this. And the idea is we don't need to have... Where is it? Oh, it's here somewhere. We don't need to have this giant bounty of shaders. We can have the shader inside the light itself, which is good. That's what we're going for. So here's what I'm ultimately going to want to do. I'm going to want a private... And this is really where I'm going to have a permanent structure. I'm going to have a private base light, a private array list of base light. Actually, this is still quote-unquote permanent, because I'm still going to modify this a little bit later, but it's much closer to being permanent. I'll call it lights. And what I'm going to do is, for every base light in lights, this is where all the magic's really going to happen. We're going to be able to say, light dot... Okay, so I do need to get shader. So, public void get shader. Except it's not going to be void, it's going to return a shader, of course. So it's going to return shader. And we're going to say light.getShader.set rendering engine to this. And then, okay, that works, I think. Okay, we're actually going to need to change the way, like the active directional light system and whatnot. But yeah, for now, this is going to work. And then, so I'll say to do active light replacement, because we're going to need to change that. And then we can just say object.render with light.getShader. There. That's exactly what I'm going to be going for. So now I should be able to really get rid of the clear lights list, because we're not going to need it. Just wanted to sort of show you how that worked without the generic system beforehand. And now I'm going to make it public void add light. Takes in some base light, light. This dot, wait, yeah, lights. If I can spell lights, not this, I'm gonna add the light to it. There. Okay, thought I had an error for some reason. And before, instead of clear light list, I can just say lights.clear, because that's the only list of lights. And there we go. This is still going to not really do that much. It's probably going to crash. In fact, yeah, I'm going to comment this out so I can at least build. And I'm going to comment... Okay, and I'm going to comment the point light object out, because I don't need this for now. But I am going to change my directional light constructor so it's, well, actually matching the constructor of the directional light, the new one. Which personally I like a lot better because it doesn't require 10 million wrapper classes, but that's just me. And there. So really at this point, need first off change rendering engine dot add light this. There. In fact, since that's going to be it for everything, I can actually go ahead and get rid of this and move that to base light. Say, yeah. The add rendering method is going to add the light this. And there. So now all we need is the active light system, the one that's going to allow us to go to, yeah, this, forward directional, for instance, and actually do something meaningful. And, well, like here, where I'm saying get active directional light. And that'll be a little trickier. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So, in the rendering engine, I'm going to have a method, which I'm going to, yeah, sure, I'll put it right here. Just called public void get active light. It's going to return some base light, and, well, I'm going to have some variable for it, somewhere in here, under, yeah, I'll call this more permanent structure so that, you know, makes more sense, I guess. We can have some private base light, active light. And guess what? This is going to return active light. So, yeah, it's that simple. And now all I have to do, say active light equals light. Now, the only trick here is really using it, and that's going to be a little bit harder. So, to use it, for one, I need to change direction light so that, yeah, not quite like that. Has, well, actually, yeah, excuse me, I sort of went with it a little bit fast. All I have to do now, since direction light is a base light, is remove the .getBase and leave everything else the same, because that way it'll add all the base parts to it, to the .base extension. Then, well, add this to the .direction extension. That should work just fine. Only thing here is we need to change rendering engine, the get rendering engine, to get active directional light, to just get active light. There. And I want to actually cast this to a directional light. But, oh, I want to cast this to a base light. Yeah, the functions for setting uniforms as is going to get a little tricky, so I'm going to rename this. So I'm going to name this set uniform directional light, and this to set uniform base light, so that it works out a little bit better. Now I can change this to set uniform base light. This way I don't need to worry about ridiculous casting systems, and this to set uniform directional light. And we're going to keep casting that to a directional light so that everything should work out. And there, this should, if I did everything correctly, work out. Or we should crash because of nonsense and whatnot and blah 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 blah. I really don't care about Fong Shader anymore. As far as I'm concerned, I can just delete it. So in fact, I will. Say goodbye to Fong Shader. We're not having it anymore. So let's try building again. What's the next error? None. Odd. Okay. I thought something wouldn't have worked out quite yet. Ah, because I never initialized the lights. Okay. It wasn't quite the error I was expecting, but I guess it still is an error. So, lights is a new array list of base light. Sure. Works for me. Now, let's try. And there, look at that! We have a generic directional light. So, yeah. Meaning, all we have to do now is get rid of our temporary structures, our temporary permanent structures, and our temporary permanent variables, and, well, now we can make this fully generic. So let's get rid of all the directional light and spotlight nonsense. Just get rid of it. It's gone. It's going away. It's not coming back. This is how we're going to be doing rendering. Well, rendering lights from now on. We're going to add a little bit more to it, but this is really the final system we're going to have in general. So yeah, now I'm just going to change point lights. We don't even need the specific ones. We just need base light. Excellent. Exactly what I'm going for. So let's go ahead and change point light to do this. I can get rid of this because I don't need that anymore. And point light extends base light. It is a light now. It's officially a light in our new system. And I'm going to get rid of the attenuation structure because I'm eventually going to get rid of the attenuation structure. I'm going to focus on this right now. So I'm going to copy the parameters here. Because, well, you know, because I need to pass it into the soup per constructor. So color and intensity and whatnot, pass it in, and set shader to forward point dot get instance. There. And sure, that should work out just fine. So with that, I should be able to should just need to change forward point to make this work out. Yeah. So now all the programming for, well, yeah, all the programming for how one specific light should work is moving from the rendering engine to the shader system where it's actually generic and whatnot. So yeah, I'm going to rename these, set uniform base light and set uniform point light. And I'm going to use this is set uniform point light. Cast this to a point light. Should work just fine. And I set uniform base light. And all I should have to do now is get rid of the dot get base light. And that should work out just fine if everything went correctly. Or actually, I'm probably going to run into an error. Yeah, because I don't have... Yeah, Spotlight's going to be unhappy for now. That's okay. I can change that. But for now, I want to make this run. And I don't see it because I forgot to add it back to test game, didn't I? Yep, I did. So let's change that. Need to change the constructor here because I don't need a base light anymore. Also, eventually, well, pretty much as soon as I get this working, I'm going to get rid of the attenuation, but yeah, not the biggest concern right now. And hey, look at that! Look at that. Two different types of lights, direction light and point light, all being rendered from the same set of code, really. So we have truly generic lighting. We can define any different type of light we want just by having a component and a shader class. And after the next section, we won't even need the shader class. So yeah, this is getting to be pretty awesome if I do say so myself. So, spotlights, I believe. Wait, no, I almost forgot. I knew I was forgetting something. I'm going to get rid of the attenuation entirely. In fact, yeah. Go away, attenuation. We don't need you anymore. Because I just... You know, it was nice to match it all up, but we don't need any more. So I'm going to say float constant, float linear, float exponent. That's going to be our attenuation. Say private, yeah, sure, right under position. Private float constant, linear, and exponent. And I've just set them all to that. So this dot constant, constant. Yeah, very, very straightforward code here. And I no longer need to get and set attenuation. So I can get rid of that. I just need, really, getters and setters for constant, linear, and exponent. So Alt-Insert. Getter and setter for all of these. And there. Exactly what I want. Don't need this anymore because that doesn't exist. And yeah, that way I don't need to have a class that only exists as a wrapper for no good reason, really. So yeah. Now, I'm gonna set... Yeah, just gonna change this to get constant. And get linear and get exponent. No need for the get a 10 in the middle there. And that should be everything. So let's run. Okay. So no more need for attenuation wrapper. Finally. Really, I could do this as a vector 3f, but I don't think it's a big deal. You know, I'm not really going to use any vector functions on it, so not really important. And in Spotlight, same thing, can get rid of that. If I can actually delete it. No, I don't want to rearrange, thank you very much. Does anyone actually know what that feature is, where you drag text and it moves it instead of selects, and how that works? Because I've done that a lot of times on accident. I don't really know what it is called or how you do it. So if anyone knows something about that, let me know. Of course, now I'm going to get 20 billion different comments on it for the next 5 years, but oh well. So now everything should work out just fine, right? Right. Excellent. Excellent indeed. Well, with that, all we need now are spotlights. And again, that's going to be really easy with our new system. So yeah, I can move spotlight to a component. That's what it is now, it's a component. And change it. It's going to extend point light. And it's going to take in the same parameters as point light. So yeah, that's my sort of solution. I'm changing it from data inheritance to logical inheritance? Code inheritance? I don't know what the term for that is, actually. Class inheritance? Object inheritance? Yeah, I don't know if I'm drawing a blank here. I don't remember what that's called. Good lord, Spotlight needs a lot of parameters. That's okay, we're going to actually end up fixing that in the relatively near future. So yeah, I'm going to set the shader. Wait, no, first off, super. Taking in color, intensity, constant, linear, exponent. I probably should have made that a vector just so it's more compact. And position and range. Okay, wow. And I can get rid of these now. Don't need that, they're implicit now. So I've simplified it. Oh, almost forgot. Set shader to forward spot.getInstance. Whew. And with that, crash, because I completely forgot this part, where, you know, change that to get spotlight. Yeah, I need to change all of this, so let's just get rid of this. Get active light, change it to that, just like everything else. So really at this point we're just changing it to what it should have always been. And I'm going to cast this to spotlight, because it shouldn't be using that shader if it's not a spotlight. And I'm going to rename these: set uniform spotlight, set uniform point light, and set uniform base light. We're going to get rid of all the copycat code between the different shader classes in the resource management section, so don't worry about that. And change this to set uniform base light, and everything should be just fine. Now it should be able to run, and I'll probably copy one of the spotlights just to, you know, prove it works. So, yeah. Gonna copy it from the rendering engine. Oh, we closed it. Actually, where is the rendering engine? That's a good point. Did it move it under core? Oh, right, it never moved under rendering. Let's move that. Yeah, surprise, the rendering engine's a rendering construct. What a concept. And there. So yeah, once we got the first part done, there's not too much interesting, or like, you know, the general base light structure change. There's not too much interesting going on here. It's just, you know, mostly rearranging our code so it fits. That's sort of how this whole segment's going to go. Make one somewhat interesting change and then rearrange everything so it fits. So I'm going to create a spotlight. Set to a new spotlight with all these parameters. Yeah, no attenuation structure anymore. This was 5 and 5. And this has no base light as a parameter, or point light as a parameter for that matter, so I can go ahead and just get rid of those. And this. And there. Now I need final game object. Call it spotlight object. And spotlight object, add component, the spotlight. There. And finally, add it to the scene. Spotlight object. And we should see it. And everything should work out just fine. Or we could get 10 million errors, that works too. Cannot... What? Did the refactoring Oh, for one, I don't need any of these anymore, just forward ambient, so yeah, those can go away. So, don't know if that changes anything. And there's a spotlight, there's a point light, there's a directional light. All our different types of lights working just fine under the exact same lighting code. Only thing that's different between them are the construct and the shader. And as I said, pretty soon we won't even need the different shaders between them. So yeah. Now in the next video, we're going to be really adding sort of the final touches to this, I guess. Changing up our lighting. Just so it's really in that final stage where it's a fully malleable game object construct and not a this is just imitating GLSL construct. And we're probably going to do a couple other interesting things as well. You'll see. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned. And see you